What were we talking about? Oh yeah, conservative OnlyFans, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Candace
yeah.
Owens?
I think it's. Oh, dude, I would pay for Candace Owens OnlyFans.
Do you think she would make a lot of money?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Dude,
I think
I'm
that
a
Ben Shapiro
communist.
would make
I
a
would
lot
pay
of
for
money.
that. Ben
Look,
Shapiro.
I'm not saying I
Yeah.
subscribe to Candace Owens, but yeah, no, that's it.
Yeah,
Nothing
I think I would. Especially, I would for Ben Shapiro. I would kill for some Ben Shapiro feet pics.
Oh man, you think he doesn't shave his toes?
I know he doesn't.
I bet he's got like
Hold on, what?
he's got like Hobbit. I bet he's walking around
God.
like Frodo.
Frodo.
I bet.
I'm not sure that he has feet.
What?
What size shoe do you think he wears?
Probably like
7.5.
Six
Probably
or
like
seven.
6 or 7.
Because
He's like a lady's
he's like the
feet.
size of a child, right?
Hey, whoa, 5'8" is not a short height. I will
There's
fight.
no way that he's 5'8". There's no
Yeah,
way.
he's
that
like
No way.
5'7".
He's like 4'9" or something.
He's like 4'9". I mean, if he's got hobbit-sized feet, he's got to be a hobbit.
That's true. That's legally true.
Guys, we
That
should
wasn't
get a
even
picture of
funny.
Ben Shapiro. Where is Ben
I'm
Shapiro
trying.
speaking anywhere soon? We should like go like to one of his things.
I don't
Get a
think he does. I don't think he does stuff anymore because it's like people like try to murder him. Part of the thing is that like we hate Ben Shapiro, but not for the same reasons that like other people hate Ben Shapiro.
Nick Fuentes head ass.
Oh god.
That was awful. Hey, I hate Ben Shapiro, but
Yeah.
that was awful.
Look, like I guess
I
like
personally want to watch Nick Fuentes and Ben Shapiro like brawl it out. Like,
Like
Please.
fight.
yeah.
No, I put my bet on Ben Shapiro because Ben Shapiro doesn't look like a like a bitch. I guess I don't know. Nick Fuentes does.
I don't know. I don't like the
Nick
way that
Fuentes
he
growing
like
that beard, bro.
jowls.
Oh my god, dude, he's doing that on
Hero
purpose
probably likes Philly, though.
to spite me. He's growing that beard to spite me.
You know, I just think the right wingers should like have as much infighting as the left. It'd be just so entertaining.
They kind of do sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they
Not-
rally behind each other in the end. They're just like, oh, this is fascist. Oh, we all like this.
I
And then
think
the Nazis are just like sitting there like, now all we got to do is convince them that we should be fascist towards the Jews.
I think it's harder for leftists because historically there's a lot of betrayal. I'm not gonna say who's in the wrong here, but someone
Yeah, you know, I think we have a kind of a good idea
Someone-
about who has
someone
killed who.
backstabs the others.
Yeah, sometimes like ice picks get lodged in people's brains, but you know it
Just
happens.
happens.
Maybe he slipped.
Hey man,
Accident, okay.
bro,
I mean,
say
come on,
Trump-
like let's all like just think about it like it's an actual tradition, like literal shit posting against all tendencies. Come on, like it's a tradition by this point. Like we gotta shit fling every once in a while until we like we realize like, oh shit, like they kind of amalgamated into one party, we're fucked.
Yeah,
So
we're fucked right now.
left unity's a spook, bro.
everybody's a spook. Yeah. It's a spoof and everybody's a spook. You're not my leftist tendency. Shit, you're a spook. Sorry.
Leftist unity is a buzzword.
It is a buzzword.
Buzzword is a buzzword.
I agree. And when the first time I ever thought of that, I was like, I don't like saying that or thinking that. Makes me feel dirty.
Leftist.
It's the same thing. You know what bothers me? The word buzzword bothers me, and so does like talking point. Like I know there's like legitimate talking points, but I've seen a lot of people use that to like basically invalidate what someone's saying, and that's like so annoying. It's like, oh, that's just a talking point. It's like, but maybe that's that person's like actual opinion, and they're not like just regurgitating what someone else said.
Yeah, I think that you get into these problems of people just throwing around words. I mean, this happens a lot when everyone's a liberal, like literally everyone's liberal.
Everyone's a liberal but me. I'm the only true leftist. Come on now.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah,
are lit.
sorry. All
Y'all
of you
fucking
are
live.
leaders.
You don't want state mandated F-35s? Fucking liberal. Come on
What
now.
do you mean that we can't own personal nukes, you fucking lib?
Bro, what do you think Marx meant when he said that you shouldn't disarm the proletariat? He meant even nukes. Come on now.
But yeah, honestly, like this is why like I've been noticing that I don't use Twitter as much anymore because like it just gets too tedious. Like I just personally think that if you're on Twitter just to like yeah, like sure, if you're going to engage in productive conversation, I think it's fine. But Twitter itself is kind of hard to facilitate any sort of, like civil discussion because at the end of the day, like any tendency, like the shit posting gene just comes out. I'm like, oh, it's time to shit post. I don't care anymore. Because it's super easy to just disengage and be, like argue in bad faith and, being disingenuous on Twitter.
Yeah. There's some problems with Twitter. I think it's all right though for just like general talking. I think if you're getting like in real like debate about something like Discord for instance is like a little bit better or something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, even that turns into shit posting. The thing is, internet discourse can easily turn into shit posting.
Yeah, I have a big problem
Yeah.
with it on the whole. Because
You- Wait, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't get you.
It's okay. It's really easy on pretty much any platform on the internet to kind of just fuck around and not take anything serious. I do that a lot. It's fun, but it's like I'm guilty of it. Like, I did it a couple minutes ago on Twitter to fuck around. It's more productive, I suppose, if you're able to get like a public platform out and like not the internet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can, if you can.
That's
The
why I think
internet's
like
really reactionary.
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I think that just Twitter is like really good for a platform, nothing else. Like, sure, like you can meet people and then actually talk about it, like just one on one instead of everybody kind of just piling in since it's a public forum. Like it as a platform, it's great, And I had a point earlier, but I fucking forgot. Like my train of thought just disappeared.
I will say the internet is one really good thing on basically all platforms. It can really radicalize people. Now that can also be a really bad thing because that's how you get Nazis. But
Mhm.
but I think it's a place where like people can get radicalized pretty easily because of the fact that it's like shit posting. So people don't take things. I mean, this is the whole alt-right pipeline thing you see, where it's like it starts like shit posting, like ha 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 ha, let's kill the minorities, and then all of a sudden it's like ha 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 ha, let's kill the minorities.
Mhm.
Like like it starts kind of ironic, and then it like turns into a real thing. That's like, I mean, it happens on the left too. You kind of have like, let's seize the means of production. Let's guillotine the rich, and it's like, let's guillotine the rich. Like now, like. So I think like in some ways it's kind of helpful, but it's also like really fucking risky because it swings both ways. I mean,
It's
you could
a
easily
gamble,
just
Yeah, it's like the but actually effect. Like they're like gradually building towards doing it over time.
yeah, and I would argue that whenever we're like having that on the left, it's pretty good because hey, that's how we get like comrades. But like, I mean, the fact that the same thing happens on the right is what's terrifying because I think that's kind of what's helped aid the rise of like fascism and the alt right and everything is kind of that.
Wait. Are you telling me that conservatives are fascists?
For the most part, yeah.
Dude, that's not what Ben Shapiro told me. He said that the
Oh,
liberals were fascists. He said that
no,
the Nazis were actually the left.
Yeah, Ben Shapiro said that fascism's to the left, right? Right, and then he said anarchism is like the most right-leaning ideology. God,
Bet.
I want to tell Ben Shapiro that we're anarchists, so like he'll like think that we're on his side, and we just absolutely fucking destroy him.
Bro,
Yeah, then we jump like finally learn how big his feet are.
Dude, he's completely
God.
right. Not gonna lie, dude. Like, I'm a super traditional Catholic. Like, I'm actually just here to like burn all of you heathens. So, the jig is up, boys. Time to burn in hell, baby.
They couldn't get me in my first reincarnation. They're sure as shit not getting me now.
Oh man, fascist.
Okay, I think my point that I was going to try to make earlier appeared slightly in my head, but then it disappeared again. Fuck. So, anyways, I think COVID kind of just made me realize that work just sucks in general. I mean, especially like before this, like thinking about just you're standing there for 8 hours, especially if you're in food service. Like, dude, I don't know if anyone knows this out there, but like working in the food service industry is like one of the worst and most exploitative things out there.
Wait, you're telling me that people in the food service get exploited and don't have like great working conditions and aren't like living a life, a good life?
Yeah,
Like,
like for
I saw that
example,
McDonald's employee with his unskilled like job, driving around with a Mercedes. I was actually thinking we should like lower the minimum wage. They're
yeah,
just
dude,
making too
like
much, man.
for example, you don't need to go home, you know? You don't need to go home early. It's not like you have a home or anything.
One
I
one
do
thing
find
that I
some.
think is
Oh, good.
sorry, I'll be quick about this. One thing that I think is going to be a little difficult after this whole thing is over is, people are going to have that. Not a ton of people are getting hazard pay, but I don't know. Some pretty big companies are doing hazard pay. It's going to be kind of difficult to go, hey, even though you're producing the same amount, we're going to pay you less. Like, I think people are going to get really upset about
Mhm.
that.
Yeah,
I don't think that
definitely.
it's going to be everyone exactly will, get to retain the pay, but I feel like you're going to start getting people that are like, hey, how come like it's if you can pay us hazard pay, you can't say, oh, well, we can't afford to pay you that much.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's gonna be problematic. But hopefully that
Well,
actually like causes the businesses to like either raise their pay or something. I would hope.
mhm.
Something I'm
I,
finding really funny though is the argument towards raising the minimum wage from like the right. The right has always been like it's unskilled work. It's not meant to be like something for someone to live off of and this and that. And then we have this pandemic and it's like they're the essential workers and everyone's like, oh, you have to work. We need y'all to work or else we'll all die. And it's like, but I thought like our jobs didn't really matter.
you're
And
unskilled
that's why
labor.
we're
Come
not.
on, man.
Yeah,
I
we're
also
unskilled
thought
labor, not that important.
that it wasn't like about like how much effort it takes to do stuff. It's about how much like money they bring in, because that's what a lot of people say about CEOs. Because whenever people say like, oh, well, CEOs work like 1,000-hour weeks, it's like, I mean, even if they do, like, do they work 300 times more? Like, are they 300 times more skilled than the people that are doing stuff that are like higher underneath them? I'm not so sure about that.
Bro, don't you know that like the CEO, say at like a pizza place, delivers all the pizza?
Wait, so you're telling me Papa John himself will fucking deliver a pizza to my doorstep? Bro, I
Papa
want
John
his sweaty
himself,
face.
Papa John himself delivers more pizzas, like 300 times more pizzas than I do on a daily basis. That's why he gets paid that much.
I also really hate this idea that we should be really beholden to like the bourgeois class because they're job creators.
I think
Yeah, I find
jobs
that
would
funny too
exist.
because in a way we're job creators because like without us they wouldn't have a job either.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't have a business to manage. Like if all like the lower like end of like the workplace was just like no, that's why strikes work because like you can't really do anything if like the workers don't come in. So like if all the workers were just like nah, then that person wouldn't have a job.
Yeah, it's
So it's kind
also
of like
kind
this
of
like symbiotic relationship where we kind of like rely on one another. So
it's also like if the CEO of Walmart like wasn't alive and that didn't exist, would there just be no industry or no company at all? Is that how that would work? They're not the ones creating the jobs. The jobs are already necessary. No, you just wouldn't have a fucking CEO deciding everything.
So what we're saying is, what I'm getting at, I guess, is landlords aren't, actually a thing. Also,
Nice
CEOs
segue.
aren't a thing. They're not things. Like,
They should
they don't
not
do
be.
any work.
Yeah.
They don't do any work. They're leeches. They're vampires. They're little bloodsuckers. Except Papa
Well, I
John,
think-
though. Papa John does deliver all the pizzas. That is a real admitted.
Yeah, he does everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
Ren
really.
What was that? Wasn't he? Wasn't he saying some weird shit about like the judgment is coming?
Yes, that
Oh, the
was fucking
reckoning! The
hilarious.
reckoning is coming.
He eats 20 to
It's
30
probably-
pizzas a week.
It's probably all that Big Brother shit that they're doing at work now.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. And that
Oh
seems
shit! Who
really
wants to talk
invasive.
about that?
I don't know
What?
enough
No.
about that.
So apparently,
Okay, I can talk about it. So the thing is, at the place that I work, delivering pizza and all, they basically we have these trackers on the top of our cars that can like keep up if we speed and whatnot. To dock us points for whatever reason because they feel like they need to I guess make sure we're safe drivers. But they started adding even more stuff now. Where like they time how long you like take to put on and off your seatbelt, how like long it takes for you to get out of the car and go to the door, and all these things to like give you this driver score that I guess is used to decide if they're going to keep you or not, which is ridiculous.
Wait, how do they time how long it takes you to put your seatbelt on?
I don't know. I have no idea, but there's a timer for it, which is insane.
Huh.
I guess it's like the moment you get in the car.
I guess so. Oh, they
It,
also
like, doesn't
like time how
matter.
long you sit in the parking lot before you come back into the
Yeah.
store or before you leave, which is crazy.
God.
It's only like punitive measures because it's only like to get us in trouble. Because if you have a high score, it's not like they're gonna go, oh hey, you got whatever. It's out of like a 100, so let's say that you got like a 98, which should be good. Now you're gonna get paid more. That's not what it is. It's basically on whether or not you're gonna get fired or in trouble. It's not like there's no actual.
Yeah,
like,
I got a warning for that. I apparently was like scoring too bad on speed because I'm a little speed racer, and I got a warning like, hey, you keep speeding, we're gonna have to like let you go. You're like on basically probation, where we're gonna like keep an eye on my like driver stats and whatnot.
and the
So yeah, it's
problem is
literally
that
only
it's
to
not
do that.
accurate.
Yeah, and it's not fully accurate. I've had it messed up whenever I've like gone into a parking garage and it loses connection and things like that. And also I
You
talked to
told
other
me
people that are working there, and they're like, one of the ladies I talked to, she finds it like super stressful. Like there's just so much to like stress about now when she's like doing things like, oh, I have to make sure I do this fast, this fast, but you can't like, and then you have to like watch your speed the whole time, which of course, you should always kind of watch your speed, but like you have to like watch it. If you can barely go over, they'll knock you a point. You can't accelerate too fast, which for me is kind of difficult since I drive, in a sports car and whatnot. It's just annoying. Or like if you brake too hard, it doesn't really allow you to like drive like with the flow of traffic, which is like really problematic. It actually feels more dangerous than if you were like to speed and stuff.
So like it's a possible stressor, right? Like, do you think like it's a possible stressor?
Yeah, it
'Cause-
definitely adds stress to the job that to our non-skilled, not too stressful job.
It's actually funny because when you guys were talking about this earlier, like in the morning when you guys were discussing this, I just finished reading about what it's not about. Like I was reading the book. What was it? Capitalist Realism. Or I haven't read it like in such a long time, even though it's a short book. But like there's this section where the author Fisher talks about how like mental stresses started developing right after like a certain date. I'm not too sure that the date I quote is like the correct one, but I think it's like right after 68. Like apparently like just how jobs kind of stress you out has caused like an increase of like mental, I don't know what to say, like the word, but like I guess like mental stressors. That's why there's a lot of like mental illnesses coming out now. That like one point is it that like people didn't talk about it back then. That's true, but also like the stresses of like the work environment and such and such. It's like Fisher. He argues that like how capitalist realism is now, like all the stresses that come upon you is doubled, because even when you're at work, like everything has to be controlled in some sort of way. But I'm pretty sure like I'm obfuscating and like generalizing a bunch of things that like the book says, but like that's the first thing I thought about when you guys were talking about these things, and I was just like,
that
damn,
makes me
like this
kind of
sucks.
think. I would also say like the workplace is just like more stressful overall. I mean, we can look at like how much more people are productive in their workplaces today than like what's that chart? When does it start where it shows the like insane split between wages and
Productivity.
workplace productivity? Yeah,
Mhm.
it's crazy. So we're like way more productive. We're more monitored than ever before, and our wages are like very low compared to like how much it cost of living. And I so like people have like financial stress when they go home. They have work stress while they're at work. We just like really live in a time of like
It never leaves
insane
you.
stress, and and the workplace is like one like basically the main cause of that. Not including people's like interpersonal stress with things that they're dealing with personally, or like their stress with like loved ones and things like that. That also gets thrown into that. There's just like so much in the workplace that's like very little to help with that.
And everybody feels like they're drastically underpaid. And it's not really just for the, oh, well, I'm better than everybody else, so I should get paid. Most people like actually understand, well, it's kind of silly how these people make this much and I make this much and I do all the, because for some reason, I think that we think that managing labor is more important than the actual labor that happens. And not to suggest that like not all organizing or managering is not labor, because some people got some weird stuff to do in their jobs, but it's just a little bit ridiculous when you see how the stockholders, I mean, they're basically entitled to the surplus value of everyone's labor. I mean, it's terrible, people could directly be earning what like I've heard that like in co-ops people make 70 to 80% more. That's a drastic difference in people's lives.
Yeah, because of how the hierarchies kind of like change, at least in the pay, like in pay, since everyone's part like ownership or whatever. Which yeah, I think that's crazy. I mean, that just shows that like we can definitely afford to pay people more. We just don't. It's all that greed, boy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean they have an incentive to like break out the profit between the shareholders and the CEO, right? Like that's their motivation for keeping a lot of costs down, right?
Yeah, but you can't do anything about it because then you're messing with the free market.
Oh Lord, we could get into the free market. I just don't understand what it is about the free market that really appeals to them, because we don't. I mean, I don't think that necessarily when people say the free market, they think that the government should not be involved in the the economic sphere at all. But some people really think hands off. The government shouldn't do anything in the in the economy. Just let business run the country. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it's not how we get child labor and slavery and all that good stuff.
Yeah, dude, let the invisible hand fix it. They'll do it. Don't worry. Like,
Yeah,
how?
the invisible hand would have fixed slavery. We definitely wouldn't have had to go into a war for that if we would have just waited for the market to figure it out.
I mean, if you ask Stefan Molyneux, that's what happened.
Oh my god.
I mean, look, the morals of the people changed, and then the technology changed, and so those worked together to free the slaves. That's what it was.
Or you gotta figure out how to measure skulls. Completely, make the history of the Roman Empire the most wrongest possible take ever. And I mean, again, like, I see, like, I hate going into these, like, because once you start thinking in their terms, you're just like, you're getting mad, like, it's wrong. But then again, Molyneux has a master's degree in, like, something, I think. And I think he's just being disingenuous. So-
I find really
yeah.
is that you bring up like Rome, and I find it really weird on the right, this weird like obsession with like
Greek and the
ancient
Romans.
societies, like
The
how
male
badass
figure?
they were, and they were so strong. And I'm just thinking, like, bro, let some like Roman like soldier walk up to me right now with his like little fucking sword. I got a 410 in my closet. I think I'm gonna win. Like, fuck your little Roman guy, all right?
No,
Not
I mean-
even on that, right? It's like they fetishize this idea of manliness that never fucking existed. They're always like, how come we're not like the Roman men where they would do badass things? And then in the meanwhile, you had a Roman emperor take baths with like children and like do weird shit to them because they were fucked in the head too.
Well, I mean, I
Bro.
would say that there's a lot of people, a certain political, certain part of the
Hey,
spectrum.
This is called ephebophilia. It is not the same.
Oh, no.
Oh, no mames, bro.
All right, I'm memeing. That's all.
Hey,
Look, but
hey,
like,
you know the lib, right?
Oh,
If you want to get rid of age of consent.
no, if they're consenting, that's just I'm just ANCAP.
look, it's something about like those marble statues, okay? Like, oh yeah, dude,
Dude,
like
it's not my fault you
values and
can't tell when a
tradition,
3-year-old
baby.
is
Oh
giving
my god!
consent.
Did you guys know about those marble statues that a lot of them started off like colored? Like
Yeah,
they were
they
painted.
were-
they were
Yeah.
painted.
And it
They
wasn't
were
just that like
bronzed.
it wasn't just that they lost like color over time. There's a lot of reports indicating that British colonials scraped off the paint from the statues to make
Sounds
them
like
white.
a bong thing. Yeah, sounds like a bong
Yeah.
thing to do.
Bright bongers.
Okay,
Wait, are you
let-
saying that British people don't like things of color? That sounds crazy.
Bro, let me talk about my favorite British person, Winston fucking Churchill. Did you know
Oh,
this
no.
guy? Oh my god. Let me talk to you about like how he basically said, "Hey guys, the Bengalis, kind of just let them die. They don't need food to live. The Jews, according to
Ooh.
Winston Churchill, not people." Bro, fuck that guy.
Yeah, Winston Churchill was kind of a fucking asshole.
No, dude, Winston Churchill is in hell, suffering and dying and getting. He's eating a bunch of cockroaches. Winston Churchill is a piece of shit, and I just don't get why, like in the Western world, they uplift him into this position. Like, oh look, he's the greatest statesman ever to live. Yeah, he's the greatest statesman ever to fucking die.
I
He's
think
like
that you
Margaret
just get-
Thatcher, but like 3 times worse.
I think it's because at the time he was juxtaposed to like Hitler. So anything he did after that wasn't gonna count. Like no one was gonna give a shit, and they didn't.
Yeah, fucking liberals, dude.
Yeah, it's really kind of unfortunate that Churchill was in charge at that time because he was kind of like hollowed after that. There's not much you can do unless you're like the USSR.
Yes.
Speaking of liberals liking like awful people, y'all seen the weird like praise to like George W. Bush recently?
Don't start. No, don't start.
Oh,
Fucking-
dude,
I
don't
hate
you
that
start him
bastard.
about the 9/11, you motherfucker. I know
Have
you
y'all-
love him about the 9/11, you.
have y'all seen that? There's like tons
Dude.
of them being like, George Bush, he was so great, we miss him.
I have a fucking book like right next to me. I have a fucking book next to me that's full of all the dumb shit that George Bush talks about when he was president. It is humiliating.
I'm sure the Iraqis miss their children too, but like we're not going to get that back either.
I mean, it's true. Like, it's true. It's true. Like, George Bush is literally like the worst fucking thing I've ever seen.
That guy's really
Hey guys,
awful.
guys, he may be a war criminal, but at least he's not orange, all right?
Yo, hey,
Yeah.
he might have bombed a lot of innocent people who weren't involved in 9/11 and attacked the wrong countries, But you know what? At least he was presidential. Here's an example. Children at school. How can we be sure how learned they become? That's a quote. I think that's almost word for word. He's a fucking idiot. And I
He went to
hate
Yale.
I hate
He went to
people.
Yale.
You know what? In 10 years, I guarantee you, people are gonna we're gonna have a fucking Hitler in office, and the liberals who are still alive in this country are gonna go, you guys remember when Donald Trump was a president? He was a real president, you know? He knew how to act. The same
He
shit
didn't eat
over and over.
children. He
Yeah.
didn't eat children, at least. He
He
didn't
didn't-
put heads on pikes.
He didn't literally round people up and put them in camps. Oh wait, no, he is. He's doing that right now. Fucking hell, I hate this.
See, when that happens, like, I'll see y'all in Asia. Sorry. Like, sorry, not sorry. I'm getting the fuck out of here. Bye.
I'm just moving south. I'm right here. Might as well. Fuck.
Dude, at that point, I say we like just take over Texas. We just like don't let them have Texas.
Oh shit! You know what that reminds me of? Y'all know Davy Crockett?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fuck Davy Crockett.
That's
all I have to say on that.
I think we were in Austin and he had a sign, like not a sign, a star on one of those like streets, and I'm like, damn, it literally feels like I'm stepping on Davy Crockett. Oops.
I'm glad
Yeah.
he died at the Alamo.
I think that we look at like a lot of founding fathers of places as people being really great, and it's the funny thing is it's like, yeah, but slaves that's a thing that people can't ever get out of their head, especially whenever you try to put like say someone like Thomas Jefferson to the real world, and it's as if, hey, he's not going to be a big fan of what's going on here. And it's
Yeah, but
not
he had
just because we have a
slaves.
welfare state.
But yeah, no, like I don't think I like it at all. All this rehabilitation going on is just like gross.
Yeah, it's crazy how much I've just seen people praise George Bush. Like,
How dare they praise George?
yeah, fucking George, get the fuck out of here.
George.
George is just sitting here like, I wasn't president. What are y'all talking about?
George, you should have done a better job. Come on now.
But yeah, I did we talk about like Orban last time? Anyways, it's not about Orban. Like in the Philippines, about 3 days ago or 2 days ago, they shut down one of the more major journalism. It's not journalism. Sorry, like mass media corporations. And well, now like it looks like the sun is finally shining everywhere. No more free speech for anybody at home. See, how long do you guys think it will take for that to happen here?
Before we don't have free speech.
What is free speech?
Once it becomes more inconvenient for the whatever right-leaning party exists, if it still does exist, because honestly, climate change might kill us before we can get rid of that. But we don't have to talk about how the ocean's rising and how we're all gonna fucking die. I mean, statistically, we're not gonna die.
Bro, just sell your
But-
homes and move. Come on now.
Oh.
Come on.
Look, man,
Climate change is
listen.
that
If your home is underneath the water,
Sell it.
are you telling me no one's gonna buy it? Why would you just sell it?
Are you telling me that my house at 0 sea level is gonna like not get bought if it floods? Holy shit!
Come on, guys. The invisible hand will fix it. Just sell it. Sell your home
Yeah.
and
Honestly,
move.
yeah.
Come on.
We'll find a way to profit off climate change.
Oligarchic
I
underwater
think so.
apartments.
About if we figure out a way to profit off of climate change, it might kind of be too late, because the U.S., especially policy-wise, is super short-sighted in their goals.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I wouldn't know too much about it though, like since you know,
Oh, you're not
disappearing
you're
to
not
the netherworld once the
you're
seas
not a climate
rise.
scientist.
No, dude, like I don't believe in that. I think Xenu's gonna come and pick me up anytime soon. Like,
Yeah,
Hey,
something.
are we
Is he
talking
still
about
chilling in that
Xenu?
volcano?
yeah, dude, like he's gonna pick me up eventually. Come on, like we all know it's gonna happen. I'm like level something, like Tom Cruise wise, very high
Shit.
up there.
Propaganda tool, head ass.
Was it Tom Cruise? Like, are you talking about Scientology?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I pray to Xanthar. Is that his name? Xanthar?
Something
Xenu?
to Xenu, dude.
Is Xenu?
No, Xanthar is that guy in
Yep.
the box. You know what I'm talking about? The
No.
that old school genie, that genie game or whatever.
No.
I didn't make that up. I didn't
You
make that up.
what?
That's a real thing.
Hold on, how do you spell that?
Oh wait, maybe I'm thinking of Zoltan, or is that the guy I went to high school with? I don't know.
Man.
No, that's Barbados.
Oh no, Zoltar. Wait, is that what y'all said?
No, I said Xanthar.
All right, hold up. I gotta do some Google searching.
Oh, dude, it's like, yeah, it's the guy in the box. That's what you mean.
Yeah, I didn't
God.
make that up. I didn't make that
Xanthar and
up.
Xenu are like the same thing, though.
Okay.
Don't you have to like pay to go up in the levels of like Scientology or something to get
Yeah.
like more or whatever?
Yeah, there's been a few times where like the people who owe money to Scientology end up dead.
God.
It's like a mafia.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, straight
Sounds
up.
like being a friend of the Clintons.
I do not have any information on Hillary Clinton. Please, please don't do anything to me.
I have
Hey, today's the
information that will
day.
lead to the arrest of Hillary Clinton. Oh, hey, wait. Someone's knocking at my door, guys. That's so weird.
Did you just order a hot dog with no bun?
Yeah, I think I ordered, what was it? Pepperoni pizza, but with no cheese on it.
Oh.
I think it's my order, guys.
Oh man.
God. Can we get into that? Because, like, one of my fucking idiot followers on Instagram responded to a post that, like, I put on my story, some, like, whatever lefty post. And as soon as they started losing the argument, they started calling me a lib and posting video links to, like, Pizzagate conspiracies.
I don't know
Hold
anything
on,
about
what?
Pizzagate.
Yeah, no, like, as soon as I, like, because they were trying to say, like, Obama was, like, well, they called him a slur a couple times. And then and I was like, well, okay, I don't even like Obama. I'm not a liberal. I don't like Obama. But, like, you're just objectively wrong. He kind of helped some people. And then he started calling me a lib, and he posted a bunch of videos to Pizzagate conspiracies.
Wait, what is the Pizzagate
Oh,
conspiracy?
no,
exactly?
please, no.
Break it down for me.
Okay.
I've heard about it, but I don't know what it is.
I got you. So, like, the Pizzagate conspiracy came out of the Hillary Clinton email dump, and it's trying to suggest that there is some messages in there that are code for CP.
Cheese
And that-
pizza.
Oh,
Yeah, cheese pizza, child pizza, as they call it, and that it all centered around a couple people. I forget their names. And, like, they're all contacting one another, and they're all in on this conspiracy, and it centers around a place called Comet Pizza. And that place got shut up because someone believed that there was an underground bunker that held children. And then it turns out that's not true. But a lot of the people who are, like, the QAnon fuck people, they are very heavily into Pizzagate as well. And it's trying to say that, like, Obama, Hillary, and a bunch of other people are, like, pedophiles, and they're like tied in with Jeffrey Epstein, but Donald Trump isn't one of those people because for whatever weird
Because he
mental
does it on his
gymnastics.
own accord.
Yeah, he does it on his own. They
doesn't
do
need a-
like mental
doesn't need a
gymnastics to
ring.
get out of that. Yeah, he just kept telling me to open my eyes and like get out of my liberal mindset, and I was really confused. I didn't know what he was talking about. I kept telling him I'm not a liberal. I'm like an anarcho-syndicalist, and he just kept calling me a lib. That's all he did, and I was like, dude. And
Calling communist liberals to own the libs.
and then the next time he did that again, like a couple days ago, and he was like, he said something really stupid, and I told him, "You're not mentally capable of having this conversation with me. You're just not. You're still like 16, 17. Your brain's not fully functional enough to understand that the
Wait, he told you
coronavirus."
that?
No, I told him that. No, I told him that.
I was gonna
No,
say,
yeah.
damn, owned.
No, I know. I was like, hey, if he told me that, props to him. That's a smarter insult than I think he's capable of coming up with. But
Ayo.
yeah, he was just going off, and I was obviously not having that conversation because literally everything he was saying was about how the coronavirus is fake and that they faked the death toll. I think he got that from Candace Owens. I don't.
Nice.
Yeah, and if you have any kind of knowledge on how like they take down death in like a hospital, you would know that that's kind of an impossibility. Like you have to be really stupid, but I guess
Yeah,
He
I
is
think
really stupid.
that is it. That's the point right there.
You heard it
Oh,
first,
I heard
guys.
that
I'm a
QAnon
lib.
thing definitely
I am
is.
a liberal. I'm a stubborn lib.
I'm a Southern lib.
I'm a South Texas lib.
See, I think the thing finally came into my head what I was gonna say earlier. See, like this is why I just end up like reading at home and like just not interacting on Twitter anymore because at least a dead person isn't going to reply to me when I write down on the margins of the page, haha, you fucking liberal, shut the fuck up. Like they're not going to reply to me on Twitter. You're just gonna end up being like, nah, bro, like that's not what they said. Then starts to quote like a bunch of shit from like dead old men. Like, bro, like I don't need this in my life.
It's a very effective tool that they use. I think it runs in both the Democrat and the GOP. It's kind of like a weird cult like indoctrination into certain information. And when you're confronted with anything else, you're kind of just like you said the gif of like someone rolling their eyes and like going
Shit posting, dude.
It's like they mean that like unironically too. They'll just send you a gif that's like rolling their eyes. It's like what the fuck kind of conversation is this?
Or like a dog taking a shit.
Yeah, I had a relative block me on Twitter because they replied to like a lefty post that I put with like some weird lib gif. And I put, how about you have an actual argument with me instead of just doing a brain dead comment? And they blocked me.
Damn old.
A little overboard, but like for real.
Yeah, that's the thing though. I think like a lot of like if you were having like I think productive conversations and in real life, like I think it would be a lot less antagonistic because again the internet kind of just gives you this sort of like semi-anonymity where you can just get away with your actions. And I mean like if you're in real life, like if this person somehow was like at least like not like nominally conservative or right leaning, they're somewhat like pretty sure if you fucking get an anarchist and like a communist in a room and then you have them talking in real life, like I don't think none of them will be calling each other libs, and they would actually come more to like, you know, like, oh yeah, like look, I agree with that, or like, oh look, like I think you're misconstruing things. You know?
Yeah.
I saw a video on YouTube that was like that, where it was like reading an online message between an anarchist and like a Marxist Leninist, and then like apparently they like meet up in person. They're like, oh, you're not that bad, but like on the internet they're like yelling at each other, you fucking lib.
Yeah, no, it's just like you're right when you say the internet facilitates a lot of that dumb behavior. You feel real brave, and like you can say anything you want because it's not like you're gonna see them. But as soon as like you're in real life and someone like confronts you and wants to have a conversation, you'll start like cleaning yourself up, and you'll have like a good conversation like a good boy.
Yeah, that's why I think like again, like the internet is like an indication of like a little bit of what's actually going on. Because like I'm pretty sure like in the real life, like people are actually well, not in the real life, like outside of like the fucking internet discourse. Like everyone's actually having like good conversations over this. Like I'm not saying like it's impossible to have constructive discourse online. It's just that when everyone's online, it just turns antagonistic, you know. And
I
like
call
I'm pretty
people-
damn sure, like when they get online, they throw ooh faces at each other and like, oh look, like I'm actually not going to backstab you. Oh, I'm actually like I'm not gonna get mad. You're not triggering me. We're not libs.
Yeah, I call people libs in real life. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I take that in the real world.
Steven
Mhm.
Crowder, our
He's a
Lord and
lib.
Savior, he actually does a really weird thing like that where especially people that have been making fun of him on the internet, he'll go and meet them in real life at, I guess, a place that they're usually not used to seeing Steven Crowder. And I actually know a guy that he did that to, and it was
Oh, shit.
super awkward because it's supposed to be Crowder going, hell yeah. You see, he doesn't, once I'm in front of him, he doesn't want to talk man to man. But in reality, he doesn't understand how creepy it is that this random guy off the fucking internet is just going up to people.
You know
like,
what? I wish
in
Steven Crowder
restaurants.
would confront me. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, honestly, like I'm thinking right now, bro. Like if Steven Crowder shows up to my place, I'll be like, "What's up, boy?"
Hey, debate Sam Cedar.
He'll confront everybody except for Sam Cedar.
I know, dude. I called him out on that too, and it didn't make it in his video or whatever.
Wait, who is that? I don't know who that is.
He
Damn,
does
I'm old.
the Majority Report, the Minority Report.
Yeah, the Majority Report.
Cool.
Dang,
Yeah,
I'm
apparently,
like,
like Crowder's dad told him like not to debate him because at first he was gonna debate him, and then his dad, who's like his manager, was like, "Nah, dude, you shouldn't do that. Like, you're gonna fucking lose."
That's really sad.
Not getting
Boy,
owned by
when
the
your
libs to
dad
own the
told-
libs.
hey son, are you winning?
Imagine being a 20.
You're winning, son.
Are you winning, son?
Are you winning, son? Oh, speaking of which, what do you guys think of? Sorry, like I am completely out of control. Sorry, Elias, what are you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say, imagine being. How old is Steven Crowder? Like 30?
I can Google it.
Like maybe 2.
I'm gonna give him 28 because I don't want to like
2 years old.
2 years old. Yeah, he might
Yeah,
as well.
he's at least 2.
He is 32. He was born in 1987.
Imagine being like 31, 32, and like having your dad tell you, no, you shouldn't debate him. He's gonna beat the crap out of you. How embarrassing is that? Like, you're a fully grown man who makes his own like crappy dark web money, and your daddy tells you not to debate someone because you'll get embarrassed publicly.
Well, I think that's why you see like a really big lack of conservatives actually willing to engage with people on the left in a way that is fair. The only time I've ever seen anything kind of like it is either whenever Ben Shapiro debated Cenk Uygur in, I think it was Politicon in 2016. And for one thing, Cenk is a big hamburger-looking idiot. And then whenever Zizek debated,
Bro, I don't even know who that is,
Peterson,
but
he's the guy. He's the guy that
looking.
he's the guy that invented TYT, which is he also founded the Justice Democrats, and then he decided to try and union bust it didn't work.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say like isn't like that the guy who union busted equally means like he's just trash. Come on, dude,
Union
what the
busting to
fuck?
own the libs.
Yeah, he ran for Congress in his district, and he got slaughtered because no one gives a fuck about him. Even Kyle Kalinske, who simps for him all the time because he pays him. He can't. He has hard times defending him too.
Simp. Okay.
Actually, while
Sorry.
we're on him, did y'all see his recent tweet about how they should stop funding red states?
Yes, that's awful.
Yeah, stop funding red states though and the libs, man.
Yeah,
Nice.
imagine all the people who genuinely need something just not getting funding for anything.
Yeah, what kind of like leftist thing is that? Come on, where's your leftist values at? You
Cenk Uygur?
killing the impoverished to own the libs.
Bro,
or the
Cenk Uyghur?
conservatives.
More like Tank Uyghur. Man, fuck that guy.
What?
More like hamburger.
Hamburger.
I'm so sorry. I do not. I was totally making fun of him for looking like a fucking barrel of oil.
Hey, well, I look like a barrel, so I'm allowed to say that. Hamburger.
Barrel of oil.
I was gonna ask earlier too, like since we were talking, I forgot what I was gonna seg you into because what I was gonna use to seg you into. But what do you guys think about that mercenary with quotation marks group getting caught in Venezuela?
I saw
Yeah,
a
it's
little bit about that.
cute.
I didn't look deep into it though.
Did you
They're
see
not
the one
supposed
guy
to be
who pissed
there.
himself and had his urine like drained down to his face when he was on the ground?
Oh, nice! What?
Yeah, no. Apparently, he pissed himself while they had him like hogtied or whatever, and he was on an incline, so he had to sit there with like a puddle of his own urine, like.
Hey,
right
he's
on his
living the
face.
dream.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When
Maybe,
you
like,
know you're
Don't try to set up a stage a coup in Bolivia. Not Bolivia, Venezuela.
right. That's the thing. Like, it's so. I personally think it's so stupid to happen that it's like all farce. But at this point in time, I don't even understand what satire is anymore. And again, like, it's imperialism. Like, fuck it. Like, if they got caught doing that, it's fucking imperialism. I don't care what anybody is on leaning towards Venezuela. But if you are going in there with the intent of, doing fuck shit, cool bullshit, like you
I
deserve to be
I love that
caught.
we can't tell if that's real or not, just because like our society has become like so like meta ironic that like there's no telling what's satire and what isn't.
I just
How many
looked it
guys
up.
did they have too? Wasn't it like 9 people who tried to invade a country?
Yeah, I think that was the Bay of Pigs, no? Like, I think that's what that was.
Nice.
That was really funny. I didn't expect that.
So,
Right.
I looked it up. There's a Wikipedia page of the United States involvements in regime changes, and then one specifically for Latin America, regime changes by the U.S.
Mm, the
There's a
So they had to
national
make a
sport,
whole different Wikipedia for it.
For
the
Latin America,
national
yeah.
sport, the national
Damn.
sport of the United States.
Now we're 1 in 56, so I guess we gotta keep winning.
What's that? Like these people literally voted a socialist. Hey, that's undemocratic. Send in the boys.
Hey, isn't that kind of what happened in Bolivia?
Yeah, no, like definitely. Fuck, like one of my co-authors, well, like the guy who runs the site, he actually did write an article over like all of that, like how re-examining it now, because like I think Agnes is like literally pushing to become like the first lady dictator of the South Latin American
go.
states. Yay! Let's go!
That's
More
the shit.
female
That's the
dictators,
shit.
baby.
Half of all dictators should be females.
Maybe the next person who does a drone strike will be a woman. Blessed.
But there, like I think when it was all going down, like I was actually like super deep into like how it was going down, because like you see unrest, you see people going on the streets, and then when I looked at like the news and stuff, like how lithium just skyrocketed in price, Tesla's stocks skyrocketed in price, and I'm just like, how can you not see the correlation between coups and then literal capitalism? Like it's just, but yeah, he wrote an article over it, going way deeper into it. So check that out. I'll link it because he does delve into it a little bit more. But just know that Agnes is a super fucking reactionary Catholic dictator who wants to expel the demons out of the government.
And the
I
indigenous
fucking
people.
hate her.
Isn't she anti-indigenous people too?
Yeah, she claims that the Bible, quote, the Bible has returned into the government palace.
Yeah,
Close
that's.
quote.
Hey, I can't wait for that theocracy to come out.
Yeah, when you literally accept Jesus into your body by dying.
Holy shit!
They call that the electric chair.
When little loincloth man. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't be saying that. I'm a Catholic.
Hey, you know what? Jesus was cool. All right.
Yeah,
Nothing
and
else has been.
yeah, that's true.
That dude was a real homie, but like the rest of the Catholic Church, not so much.
Bro, let me tell you about my favorite Pope, Alexander the
Oh
Sixth.
my
What?
god.
Yeah, did you not?
It's you, Alex.
Did you know that you were a Pope, dude?
Yeah, no.
Bro.
I was telling you that was my first incarnation, and they didn't get me.
Oh no. If this is the I'm thinking about, that's kinda
Bro, you're so goddamn Catholic that you had like literal courtesans. How do you say this in English? Participating in party games where they managed to get the most men off. Super Catholic inside the Vatican. My God.
Sounds about like a normal Wednesday.
that's legendary.
You're making me want a theocracy. Calm down.
Theocracy now.
Instead of
Theocracy is kind of
democracy now.
based.
What
Oh.
happened to the good old Roman days where a bunch of men could have a symposium? Damn.
Yeah. What happened to the good old days when you can just cuddle up with your war buddy and be like, hey, can we cuddle real quick?
What happened to accepted effebuffet? Nope.
No. No.
Nope, I'm gonna stop right there.
No. But yeah, thank Jesus for stopping all those dirty imperialists in Bolivia. Comrade Pescadores, they fucking stopped those. Like, just think about like how fucking literal fishermen were there, and they were just like, nope, not gonna happen, baby. Like, you're going back home, bitch. Well, not going back home, but like, you're not doing this shit. Like, fucking fishermen, dude. Like, literal fucking fishermen fucking caught these like slimy little gusanos like in the fucking water.
Fuck.
Like, fucking great. I love it. Like, this is the only shining ray of hope that like is in this fucking plague-ridden world. Thank you, Jesus, for giving this opportunity. I swear I'm gonna go to mass next week.
All right, so let's talk about Dan Crenshaw. I
Oh,
think
no.
that he's really dumb,
What's under the patch?
but that's just
What's
my
under the
opinion.
patch?
A flashlight.
The patch.
A flashlight. It's a Riley Reid flashlight.
Stop.
Yo, wait! Don't stop! Don't talk about Comrade Reed like that. Don't talk about Comrade Reed like that.
Nah, it's his preference, not my fault.
Someone that someone's podcast that I watch. I think it was Eric. It was Eric Weinstein. Is that what it is? Weinstein? I forget. The one that's
It's
not.
why.
the-
It's the one that isn't the
Rapist.
the rapist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he had Riley Reid on his podcast kind of recently. Yeah, Ashley Matthews, aka Riley Reid, the mogul and brains behind America's Sweetheart. Dang, podcasts are really, really getting loose with it. That was bad. That was bad taste.
Wow.
I didn't mean to do that.
Wow, you coming at our sex workers, bro?
No.
Yeah, come on, dude. We have to.
Come on, man. Oh man, Dan Crenshaw. Though, what were we gonna say about Dan Crenshaw?
I think that he's really dumb. And hear me out. If he
That's a
wasn't
hot
dumb,
take. That's a
then
hot
why would
take.
he be him?
That's a good point.
Y'all have seen the Twitter thing, right? Where like someone makes fun of like his eye, and he's like,
He sobs about it.
He starts getting buttered.
well, someone
Why?
said something about it, and he was like, well, I lost it in the war. Good, like basically challenged him to like fight in a war, and he was like, I don't know, man, I'm different. Like I wouldn't have lost my eye.
Man, you remember? I don't like SNL, but that one dude, Pete Davidson, is that his
Pete
name?
Davidson.
He was like, he made a comment about how like, I wonder if Dan Crenshaw gets eye fucked or whatever, and Crenshaw
Yeah.
like, he almost cried on TV and all that. He was real butthurt.
His real eye hurt.
Maybe he just shouldn't have lost his eye.
Yeah, maybe you know what? Respect to
Fucking
Crenshaw,
big
but I'm
good.
different.
Yeah, maybe he should have not been like an imperial little fuck.
Like, imagine being so bad that you lose your eye, bro. Just dolphin dive. Are you stupid?
Oh my god.
Just dolphin dive. Fuck.
I'm trying to remember the dumb takes he had when he was on Joe Rogan, because I know him and like Joe Rogan like disagreed on like some stuff.
The most
I
recent
can't
one is
remember it.
kind of hilarious because he gets owned big. And in his first podcast that he was on, he starts defending the Electoral College, and in the worst way possible. I think that the rhetoric around, oh, well, do you just think that all the cities, which is where most of the people live, should control things, or do you think that the conservatives should still be able to do stuff illegitimately?
Bro, I think that's kind of crazy, because I think big cities have the most people, so it kind of like makes sense that they would have a lot of pull. And it's not like we're so disconnected from like cities that aren't big, because we have the internet these days. We know what's going on in other places.
It's just
for the most part.
a really anti-democratic matter, and I would say broadly that the Republicans are pretty anti-democratic, especially when it doesn't work out for them. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with lowering the voting age to like, I don't know, 16.
I think we should lower it to like maybe like 2. I think 2-year-olds got a good grasp on all the issues.
I mean, a 2-year-old probably has a better
anymore than
grasp than
opinion.
Dave Crenshaw. I don't know who anybody is anymore.
Dave Crenshaw. You mix in Dave Rubin and Crenshaw together.
Nice. That's like so fucking cursed.
Oh, what? Oh, that's
Holy
what
shit.
Dave,
If you can read what it says, I have a good time every time I look back on it.
Dude, Dave Rubin, it must be really sad to be him because he idolizes Ben Shapiro, and Ben Shapiro is like, I won't even fucking acknowledge that you're married to someone. I won't even go to a party to celebrate your boyfriend, your husband, because of how much I hate it. And he's like, well, yeah, religious values are important, even though I'm an atheist. And, I respect Ben for thinking that I'm not a real person.
oh, the ultimate bootlicking.
Bro, honestly, Ben. Sorry, that's like no hate to manlets, but he's going there. I'm sorry. There's a pit specifically for manlets where they cannot crawl out because it's like 5 foot tall.
Fuck
They-
off.
Oh, are you a short?
Yeah, I'm
king?
pretty sure
Are you a
y'all have
short
seen
king,
like
Elias?
What counts as
Yes,
a
like-
manlet? Wait, what counts as a manlet?
anything below 6. So like I'm a manlet. I'm going there.
Oh shit, okay, I'm a manlet. Yeah, alright, I'm a manlet.
Listen. I have you guys seen the 3rd installment in Christopher Nolan's Batman series?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, is that the one with Superman?
No, it's the one with Bane.
Oh shit.
Like the one who talks like, "Well, why are you here?" Shit like that. Like so, like in the movie, do you guys remember that really deep pit where like fucking Christian Bale had to climb out of? Now imagine that, but like it's only just like 6 feet like deep. That's where all the manlets are. They can't climb out of it because they're lower than 6 feet. Like that's it. Like we're all going there. Ben Shapiro, I'm sorry,
I
but
don't
we're
want to be
going
stuck
there.
in there.
Like we're
If you're
manlets.
taller than 5'7",
but we're manlets.
you're not a manlet. If you're
Hey, I'm 5'7.5", baby. Let's go.
okay, I tried
Okay,
to
it's like if
cover
we're
as best
talking
as
like
I could.
5'11". Also,
Look,
that's
man,
toxic
the only criteria to not be a manlet is to not be Ben Shapiro. So
Damn, that's inclusive as
Yeah, if
fuck.
you're 5'2", if you're not
it's
those,
just
then
you can be like 4'11", just as long as you're not Ben Shapiro, you're still a man. It's all right.
That's fair.
Dang, we're dabbling. I started some toxic masculinity right now.
No,
I'm
I'm
sorry,
allowing
fellas.
Sure, people are still men. It's just not Ben.
If you don't fuck your homies, you're not a real man. That's just a
Oh,
fact.
but
That's just a
Bet.
fact.
The Romans be like,
Yeah, the Romans were all men,
mm.
except for
real
the
men.
kids.
Real men peg each other.
Is that a Ben
Yes.
Shapiro quote?
Tough talk for a fella in pegging distance.
Wait, hold on.
Are you in my house?
No comment.
No comment.
I'm somewhere.
But yeah, there's this quote I forgot. Like I forgot what I was watching. I think it was like a new YouTuber that I got into. Like he's from, I don't know, one of those post-Yugo countries. His channel is pretty cool, but he started talking about this one like Russian sniper. She had this one quote. I forgot what her name was, but I think it was a movie. They asked her or something about like how many men did you kill, and this fucking badass. She's like, I didn't kill men. I killed fascists. And I'm like, oh baby, fucking based.
I saw like the meme template where it's the crying person and the other person goes insert thing goes insert thing, and it was like women can't be in the military, their place is in the home, and then it said it had like a Russian like woman going submachine gun go brrr.
So you say what you want about the Soviet army, but at least like they were fucking slaying fascists. I will give them that. Without
Yeah,
the
that's why I think
Soviets,
it's-
I'm not the biggest fan of the USSR, but they did have some like great music.
They
Well,
killed
can
a
we-
lot of
I agree
they killed
to
a
that.
lot of Nazis.
yeah, like
Great.
the USSR did slay a bunch of Nazis, so like.
They also killed every anarchist.
But
All right,
don't
chill.
talk
We
about
can
that,
deal with
okay?
that later.
We don't talk about that.
And we put that in the box, okay, in the
We don't
corner.
talk
We don't
about that.
we don't pull it up.
Keep that in the
We
gold
just-
bar, bro.
We just talked about like how like internet discourse is toxic. We do not go there. Please don't kill me.
Oh man.
But yeah, I'll give the Soviet Union like there's a lot of lessons to be learned from the Soviet Union. I'll say that. Like I personally would, like if I were in the Cold War, I think I would rather much live in the Soviet Union where, like, hey, like they launched the Sputnik. At least I'll know like, hey, at least I'm not a capitalist fuck.
I just would have gone to probably Antarctica.
Yeah.
Well, we should take over Antarctica. I think that's a good idea.
I'm sorry,
So
like
the People's
penguin
Democratic
probably tastes
Republic
good.
of Antarctica. Hello?
the PPPA.
Yeah, the People's Democratic Republic of Antarctica sounds pretty based.
Why Antarctica?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I might freeze, bro. I don't want to freeze.
I
And
I'm used to the heat. I
We
can't
can just warm it up. I mean, global warming's gonna heat it
Oh,
up
shit.
anyway.
hair dryers.
Come on, guys. They're thinking advanced enough.
Just hair dryers on sticks. That's how you wage war against the fucking penguins.
Look, we may not be able to sell our houses when global warming happens, but we can move to
Oh, shit.
Antarctica. We can. What if we just move our houses to Antarctica?
Wait. Antarctica is like all ice, isn't it? What? Hold on a minute. Wait a minute. If that shit melts,
will
it's
you
not gonna
actually believe that?
Global warming. When global warming actually melts away
I don't
the
know.
snow, it's actually
Wait.
going to be the tropical islands where Godzilla.
Wait, am I stupid? Is Antarctica? Does
That's the
Antarctica
monster
have
blast.
land?
I think it's just ice. I actually don't know. That's a
Wait, are y'all being
now.
serious right now?
I'm
yeah.
not like an expert in like Antarctica.
Okay, no, it's not like it's not one big ice cube.
Okay,
Like,
no,
there's-
it has land, yeah.
There are rocks and shit.
Hey, never mind. Okay, I'm an anarchist. I'm an anarchist. I don't read. Okay.
I hate you. I knew you were gonna say that.
Can we make that like the headliner when you publish it? There are rocks and shit.
Is that gonna be the title?
The podcast titled "Does Antic
Number-
Does Oh
number-
fuck me? I can't talk now." Does
Oh, man.
Antarctica have rocks underneath?
Is that
Yeah. Dude, no, like, cause I think Alex comes in and he's like, "Wait, guys, like, are y'all actually serious? Like, listen, there's rocks and shit."
Hey, it's a commonly asked question, okay?
And who fucking said like I'm not an expert on Antarctica?
Me.
Fucking what?
I don't know.
bro? You don't read your Antarctica theory? Come on
Oh, I
now.
don't read any
Hey,
kind
come
of
on, bro.
Antarctica.
Jesus.
I'm an anarcho-Antarctican. That's what I am. Fuck, there's
Fucking
pictures?
leftists buried underneath ice.
Leftist discourse is reduced to this.
Weren't the Nazis
Oh, no,
obsessed
that's
with Antarctica, or did I
Norwegian.
make that up?
Yeah, the Nazis
Wait.
liked Antarctica. They
Yeah,
wanted to know if there was land underneath it.
you know that much.
Mask off, guys. I'm actually from 1945 Germany.
Oh, hold on though. Like, define. Please define. I need definitions behind this.
I'm an over 100-year-old corpse, still alive.
Nice. But like, like, were you like,
Yeah, like
Well, I don't know what you're referring to. Was I a socialist? Yes.
Was he a
nice,
nationalist?
nice.
Was I international? No, I wasn't international. I was I was a homebound socialist.
No,
the
bro, I was gonna
fatherland.
ask you, were you like an Italian fascist?
I don't know
I
what that
prefer-
implies. I was an
prefer
Italian.
fascists with Italian characteristics.
I like the Italian aesthetic. Okay.
Yeah, Mario and Luigi are pretty cool.
Yeah, spaghetti. No, not tacos.
spaghetti.
Tacos.
That's my own. Sorry. I don't
Tacos
know.
are Italian. Good to know.
Italians had like no tomato sauce before they got over here, so
That is correct. Like that is
Yeah.
absolutely correct. Without like any Mexican like without like dirty Europeans like going into the like America, the Italians would have not discovered fucking tomato sauce.
yeah,
So
or
like,
chocolate, or like
bro, fucking Italian cuisine is literally Mexican cuisine. Italians blown the fuck out. Like, don't even come at me, you fucking
if-
nerds.
if this is a dumb question, you can call me out on it, like you guys did on Antarctica. Fuck y'all. But like, did potatoes came from over here? Like, I'm pretty confident that there weren't potatoes in the European world. I'm
Yeah.
gonna look that up before I say
No,
that.
you're right. Like, potatoes came from the south. That's why,
I'm
like,
pretty sure
fucking
that was potatoes come from here.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they probably would have named it something stupid.
King Henry II.
History
Oh.
of the potato.
Wait, what?
Yeah. The potato was
We're having
first
a potato history
domesticated
lesson?
in Peru and Bolivia.
This is
Yeah,
theory.
it's Quechua stuff. Like when they came, they discovered the potato in like Peru and Bolivia. Like it's indigenously from South America, and now potatoes is consumed worldwide.
Corn
Put-
too.
Yeah, fucking
Okay.
potato,
Hey,
delicious
the Aztecs had corn by the ball, straight up.
for real, dude.
Like literally, they actually like genetically fucked with corn.
Yeah, I think I saw like one of these, like these are one of like the actual good stuff out there on the internet where you're just like, wait, hold on a minute, what the fuck? Because like again, like I think when it comes to talking, like especially like indigenous like topics, like we got to listen, I think, to like the literal indigenous. Like for example, like I wouldn't like anyone beside like a Filipino talking about Filipino things. I'd be like, bro,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah,
Hold
dude.
on.
Straight up, you
But-
know, like, this is a little like off topic, but kind of not. Like, there's a lot of misinformation when people talk about how like the Aztecs got fucked over by the Spaniards that came in, and it's super frustrating. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
What do you mean?
Like
Well,
like them thinking that they were gods.
yeah, like
Oh,
that's just
yeah.
not
Yeah,
true.
okay, yeah.
Like that's
Because I
just
hate
fake.
that.
A lot of people attribute like the Spaniard success to like their technology. There was like 200 Spaniards, and they did not all have guns. So if you're
Yeah,
telling
bro.
me that like 175 guns are what tipped the scales, you're like moronic. You know what I mean?
Bro,
I don't like.
they just got germs. The Europeans brought germs.
Literally, they sneezed and the Aztecs went, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, yeah, that was the biggest part of it for sure. There was a ton.
Literally,
I don't I like engaging in that because I think that it's important to be historically correct, but the Spaniards definitely were out there
yeah,
actively murdering people. And
yeah, and then
it took a long time.
not even that. It's like a lot of people don't acknowledge that the Aztecs also got fucked over because the Spaniards got other different indigenous peoples to work with them because they thought that
Mhm.
after that like they were gonna be fine or whatever, and they got fucked over too. So I suppose it's like really frustrating because I put a lot of time and effort because it's like part of my culture too, or I want to know more about that stuff. It's really awful when people are like, yeah, the indigenous people were just stupid. It's like, do you know that like Mexico City had plumbing before the
Yeah,
Spaniards got there? They had like
bro.
they built their city on the water.
Yeah, Tenochtitlan was like way bigger than all the other cities like
Oh
in
my
Europe,
god,
except
yeah.
for like one or two, maybe Cordoba. Like Cordoba
It
wasn't even
had
that big anymore.
yeah, it had 10 million people. Did you know that in that one city?
Yeah,
That's a
and then
fuck ton of people.
if you go to the history of Peru, Peru had like a literal working postal service
Yeah.
way before like fucking Europeans were like, hey bro, maybe we should put roads like the Romans did on the floor.
Fuck. Yeah. Not even that. Like the concept of zero came around like 2 AD, I think. Or no, 2 BC, something like that. And then at the
Mhm.
same time a couple like 1,000 years later, the Mayans on the other side of the world came up with that independently.
Bro, brown boys thriving, baby.
Straight up.
That's
That frustrates the shit out of me. People are always like, "Oh yeah, they got conquered because they were stupid and they thought the
nah, bro.
Spaniards were gods." It's like
Bro,
you're dumb.
bro, they just sneezed. They literally were
They
like,
sneezed. They went,
bro,
"Achoo!"
let me give you some germs.
Hey, y'all ever you think it's cold at night? We have some extra blankets. Hey, call Smallpox Joe.
Okay,
That guy's got extra.
Smallpox joke.
I need to do more research into that because some of the rhetoric I've heard surrounding that is a little bit weird because they didn't know about germs, but I mean during the
Uh,
Black Plague they knew about quarantining. So
yeah.
even if it's not like they had, oh well, fucking, I guess I need to look more into it because I've heard some people say things that are really wrong, but
I have a
I
few resources on that because
I would really appreciate you sending me
yeah,
that.
yeah, I'll send them to you. From what I've seen and from what I know, the Spaniards did not have germ theory, obviously, because they were European morons. Sorry. Um, but
Bless up, yes, hell yeah.
they
Bless
were
up.
aware. Yeah, they were aware that like they definitely did not have the same type of how do you say, they weren't affected by what they had in the same way that the Aztecs were, and they were aware of this, and so they consciously like gave things to them knowing that there was a chance of infection or of them catching something.
Yeah. And again, like if you think about like how just isolated the North and South American continents were, like they didn't had the time to catch up to it. Like for example, like Hispaniola, I forgot like it was high six digit population, and then like now like Tainos are gone, like they're extinct because like they were the ones who were in first contact.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just fuck. But again, like um the I would argue like the Spaniards weren't as like bloodthirsty as the Anglos, but again, like they were still pretty fucking bad.
Yeah, I mean they were motivated by like not just trying to find wealth, but also spreading.
By Jesus.
Yeah,
You
they
need
was.
some of that Jesus.
Yeah, dude,
Jesus
that's
say
what
no
happened.
killing.
They like destroyed significantly cultural things, and they replaced them with like Catholic saints. That's why we have lost so much information on like how the language worked. At least for the Aztecs, we only have a few codex, and
They-
as well as like how their culture and society was built. A lot of information, not all of it.
One of
But
the
it's pretty
biggest
tragic when
differences.
you really like from an anthropological perspective.
One of the biggest differences is
You
that
know?
the Anglos and the Spaniards didn't go for the same goals. I mean, the Spaniards definitely did kill a ton of them, and
Oh,
from what
shit.
I've been led to believe,
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think it's more people died from the Spaniards because it took over a longer span of time. I could be wrong on that, but when you look at what the Anglos did, and especially proportionally,
I think my microphone fucked up.
proportionally, they got fucked. They just were going for, all right, we're just gonna get you completely out of our land, like just leave. We're gonna. I mean, the railroads were built partly because they were like, we need to have a better way to kill these goddamn Indians.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. That's like how they, because again, like I think like in the sense of like just the United States itself, like they kept pushing and pushing, and then like, oh shit, like you kind of ran out of land, so hey Custer, just take care of the problem, can you? And even Canada, like you can see this in Canada, like it's not as hard as it was, but then their policies towards it were just like equally as trash. Like,
I,
even Mexico was like kind of like has sins in that regard. Like if you look at Benito Juarez, Juarez himself was an indigenous person, but he took away land from the indigenous people of Mexico. So it's just like, ooh, well now.
Okay, so in terms of Canada, this isn't to try and make the US look better. This is to try and make Canada look worse. I heard that Canada's shit that they did was as bad
Oh
as
yeah.
America because
Yeah.
there's we've done it too. And that's the thing is it's not to make the US look better. It's to make Canada actually look like what they've done because they had some really really weird shit going on like especially like in the 50s like
Yeah. Are you talking about like the lodging schools where they're kind of forced into getting reprogrammed or something like that?
it's a sort of like a simulation that I mean aside from literal genocide it was absolutely dehumanizing. They were absolutely trying to take away their culture in a way that's just hadn't been done in with through I say nonviolent very loosely.
Yeah. No, like again, like I would argue also like if we like go after the colonial period, you know, like when all these like just American countries, and by American I mean like continental wise, they started to gain their independence. Some of them managed to be fine. Like for example, Bolivia, like you could see. Well, I might be wrong on this, but for example, Guarani, like over there in Uruguay, one of those guays, like they still managed to preserve it in a sense, but all the other settler colonial nations like Canada, the United States, and even Mexico is pretty much egregious in this that they just try to push them away. But of course, like this is just from my history, and of course, like I'm pretty sure like someone is more knowledgeable to it than I am.
I mean, I'm no history major or anything, but from what I've been taught, that actually sounds 100% right. Especially when you think about Mexico has a wall. They have the wall that Trump wants. It's just in southern Mexico.
Yeah, with all the Mayans, right? Like
Yeah.
And that's why, like, what's it called? Like the Neo Zapatista movement down there is like doing some good work, baby. Fuck that shit. Dual power right here. But if I think that's another thing, like if any like of you are listening that is kind of interested in that sort of thing, look up like the Neo Zapatistas down in the Yucatan Peninsula. Like they're literally exerting dual power structures, and like they're actually protecting their own community. I mean, there's no tinge of like I'm not too sure like they identify as something, but at least like it's somewhat leftist. So don't tell me, oh, this shit don't work. Like, hey, look at the Zapatistas. Oh, sorry, Neo Zapatistas.
Yeah, I think that when you look at the it doesn't work. It's really poor understandings of how anything politically has ever happened. I mean, any sort of socialist uprising anywhere in the anywhere on the world, but specifically in Latin America. I mean, the U.S. is like, bomb it.
Yeah. Oh, what's that? Like they voted in a socialist, bomb them. Oh, what's that? They elected like a suck them, bomb them. Oh, what's that? They're trying to institute like a communist revolution. Ah, bomb.
No bombs, man. Bombs are bad unless you send them to fascists in Minecraft.
I don't know, man. I think everyone should have bombs, like private bombs.
Yeah, where's my nuke? My government mandated nuke.
Second Amendment intensifies.
And
Y'all are a bunch of
Capistan.
libs. Y'all are a bunch of libs if you don't think we
Shit.
deserve nukes.
Oh my god, I don't know. Like, did Lucas get kicked? Because I saw he joined again.
I think he just left.
Man, I know he would have had something good to say, just calling you lib.
I mean,
All right,
come on, like
everyone.
let me have like the last word. Like obviously, everyone in this fucking podcast is a lib besides myself. Because I read theory, none of these fucks do. Aha!
Never read theory my whole life.
I read the little the little engine that could. I read theory. Okay, let's get
Isn't there
that
a movie
straight.
about a toaster? Isn't there like a Disney movie about a
Yeah,
toaster?
it's the brave little toaster. That's also theory.
The brave little toaster's theory.
What
I
a
guess it's a
toaster,
good
like,
supplement for the.
mortifying,
It's a good supplement for the Communist Manifesto if you don't have time to read it.
Hey, I watched the Avengers Endgame, and that is theory. Okay, that's a.
Thanos is kind of based.
Thanos is kind of thick, if you ask me.
Big eco-fascist tendencies.
Oh man, you know what? That's kind of scary, actually. I think that kind of opinion is gonna get more popular in the future.
Yes, and especially because it's really weird. It almost always affects like really low income people, and I don't mean like low income people in the obviously in the United States, but
It's like globally.
well, they're like, well, fucking people in Africa, people in China, people in India. They're like, they should just stop burning shit, and it's like, hey, that's how they don't die.
Yeah,
they need electricity.
it's also gonna get to the point where it's like, these countries are having too many people. We can't sustain ourselves. We need to stop them from having kids. Like, I guarantee you,
That's
a
already
politician.
happening. There's
Oh,
already people that say that.
fuck. Well, that's fucked. That's
Yeah,
not
there's people who
good.
are like literally worried about like overpopulation and like we need
Oh
to
my god,
we need to like bring down the population and stuff.
that's disappointing.
Gotta love eco-fascism, bro.
Can we
It's
have eco-fascism but against fascists?
I think that's still eco-fascism.
Yeah, but like that sounds fine to me.
But it's like constructive eco-fascism.
Horseshoe theory.
Emphasis on the effective. All right. Well, I think that this is where we wrap up the episode. Anybody have any last words?
I
Death
do.
to Walmart.
If you don't mind, you're all a bunch of libs, and I'm the only real theory reader. Okay,
Dang, owned.
Owned.
You're right. I'm just a lib.
But I do have some words.
Alright.
Honestly, no one's a lib. Please, for the love of God, stop being online. Like, no matter what fucking tendency you are, just chill out. At the end of the day, we're probably going to agree on more things than we don't agree on the internet. Fuck the bird app. Delete the fucking app. It's useless. I hate it. Fuck.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
I think-
concur with you there, but
Yeah, I agree.
Please, like,
Yeah.
once this coronavirus is out there, I know for sure that every tanky, every dirty anarchist will be throwing uwoos at each other in real life when this virus is over. Because I'm pretty sure I'd rather have each and every one of these fucking fuck nuggets out in the streets and protesting with each other instead of going, ha, lib. Let's all be libs together in the streets, please.
I think that's a really good point. I think that's super important. Good rhetoric.
Yeah, but I don't mean libs like please.
No, we should all
DCC.
literally become libs. No more leftism. Leftism abolished.
Let's just all take
Oh.
the lib title.
But yeah, that's
Honestly,
all for
I
me.
think that's a pretty good message to end it on. So
Yeah.
yeah, I guess we should probably sign off. So
Yeah.
yeah, spread the bread and all that good stuff.
Don't forget to spread your cheeks.
Spread
Jeff
your cheeks.
Bezos is a
spread the
fucking
bread.
dickhead.
Dan Crenshaw
Fuck
spreads
the
his eye.
Bezos. Fucking Dan Crenshaw's eye. Oh my God.
Damn, anytime that
Okay.
Dan Crenshaw blinks, he's winking.
Oh fuck.
Okay, I'm into
On that note.
it.